Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Gab D'Amours, drummer of the band APES. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, Caffeinated Crew? Today I'm joined by the Gab of Love, Gab D'Amours. Is D'Amours, right? That's
absolutely okay. D'Amours. Yeah.
My accent is mauvais. I apologize, but I'd try my best.
You're doing good. It's actually pretty good.
How are you doing this morning, Gab?
I'm great. It's a gray, rainy day today. It's Sunday, but I got good coffee and I'm in a good mood. So perfect.
Nice. It is very gray. We had a blessing of sunshine on Friday. I don't know if you guys also had that.
We did. It was amazing.
Now in the province, we will have rain for this week.
Yeah, it's going to be powering for a couple of days. So it depresses me a little bit, but it's part of the game.
It is part of the game. It's part of spring. We got to bear with the spring to get to the lovely summer. So
can't wait.
What are you drinking on your side?
So right now I'm drinking a fine cup of pour over Ethiopian coffee, which I bought at Nectar close by. Yeah, very good coffee. It has it's pretty acidic, but I tend to love those kind of coffees. I'm more of a fruity, acidic kind of guy, more than chocolatey kind of notes. So
yes,
it's pretty decent.
You're not a nutty guy.
Well, people who I tend to nerd out about stuff, and people who get into coffee, and similar things could be said about, wine or food or whatever. They get pretty geeky, right away, and they become kind of elitist, about things. Yeah. And I used to be the kind of guy, I'm not drinking this, I'm not drinking that. Whereas now I have my preferences, of course, but I'm pretty open-minded. And by the way, there are a couple of controversial topics I'd like to touch if we got time for it.
We're definitely going to do that. We're definitely, I'm a lover of hot takes.
Yeah.
And a lover of, just controversy in general. Not as much as Joe Rogan, but I'm not afraid to stir the pot.
That's good. That's all good.
I'm drinking something. I also have an Ethiopian this morning. It's my first Ethiopian in a few weeks, actually. This one's from the legendary Zab.
Oh, which I had planned on mentioning because I love these guys.
Yes. Shout out to Zab, longtime carriers of the Third Wave Torch in Montreal. They're always, the branding is so fucking good.
Yeah. And the cafes Paquebot are really cool too. They have great drinks as well. Yeah. Great all around.
Lemonade cold brew. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
I had those for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I was ecstatic. Like, it tasted so good. Like, my partner drinks coffee with, she tends to add lemon or lemonade to it. I had never done that. And yeah, that's just so good.
It's good. Especially if you're on, like, I know that me as well as you, we are lovers of acidic, complex fruity coffees. I feel like the best route for that one is just a traditional chocolatey, coffee mixed with the lemonade, so that the lemonade can just throw it completely out of whack.
Exactly. Just a nice touch.
This is their Gera Genji. It is a natural Ethiopian. It's got some notes of like strawberry, elderflower, and cacao.
Wow. That sounds delicious. I need to actually buy that one. I don't know if they have it on rotation quite often, but I'll try to get a bag.
I happened to be at a shop yesterday. I was like, I haven't had Zab in a while. Maybe I'll grab this natural. So it's good. They never let you down, honestly.
They don't. Well, cheers, man. Enjoy your coffee.
Cheers. You as well. So you mentioned Nectar. What's your go-to shop in the Quebec area?
There's a couple of them that are quite good. Some of them roast their own beans, some don't. So my go-tos are, the first one would be Kentuk, which you're familiar with, right?
Love Kentuk.
Yeah, so they're great. Nectar is great. Saint Henri have an outpost here as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if they make them in Montreal, but they make donuts here at Saint Henri, and the donuts are fucking good.
Oh,
Yeah, they're something. There's also Maison Smith, which is a new player, a bit more. I will say it appeals to like the larger crowds, I'll say, but it's quite good.
mm-hmm.
There's also Café Maelstrom downtown, which I love. They usually sell Escape roasters beans
Okay.
from Montreal. So also very good. So those are my go-tos, I'd say in Quebec.
Quebec's got so many great shops. Last time I was there, I got to try the Nectar, and is it Saint Foy, the one that's like on the main stretch there?
Yeah. What's it called again? Stockholm? Was that the word?
Yeah, like the main where the big church is there, and it's kind of like I can't remember what else is over there.
I'm not very familiar with. For some reason, I'm actually not very. I went to university in that area, but certainly there weren't third wave coffee shops back then. It was a couple of years ago, but it's interesting because you see all these shops popping up and replacing your run of the mill commodity kind of coffee place, which most of the time suck. Let's say it. Although I will never, I'm not a coffee snob or anything, but I prefer, the good stuff. And especially around the University of Laval area, you've got better choices now, certainly much better choices now than back in the days.
Yeah, I mean, even in Montreal, it's like every I think 7 minutes there's a new coffee shop that opens.
It's impossible to keep up.
And it's the newest, best coffee shop you've ever seen,
Exactly. Most of the time, these shops are not just trends or, it's just not a fad. It'll be there for a couple of years or for some long time. And it's actually good. I used to live in Montreal. I've moved to Quebec 3 years ago now, and I just cannot keep up, with the pandemic and whatnot. I haven't visited as often as I would have liked to. And, just new stuff, new cafes, new restaurants popping up, almost every day is impossible to follow.
Well, let me ask you, since, you seem like somebody who tracks coffee a lot, who drinks a lot of coffee. Do you have a top coffee of 2022 that was just the best cup you had the whole year?
I do. What I know, well, it was actually from Nectar, and it was an Ethiopian. But for the love of me, I cannot remember what the name was, or, I just remember it just tasted like blueberries, like full on blueberries. And some people don't really like that. Well, the Ethiopian coffees, for all I know, tend to have that, blueberry taste. But that one was just like a blueberry punch in the face. And it was equally good, with just my regular drip. I use a Kalita Wave. I did AeroPress. It was also very good. Even espresso, which maybe would not be the best way to brew it, but even then it was amazing. So blueberry Ethiopian was my highlight of last year for sure. Nice.
My top of last year was my friend had a double anaerobic Colombian. He runs Balance Torrefactor here out of Verdun. I don't know if they have it in the grocery store. They have like one roast from him up there, but it's like Godzilla attacking Montreal on the bag.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's very cool. I might have to get you a bag. But it's
I'd love to.
It's a double anaerobic Colombian. It basically just tasted like, like pineapple upside down cake.
Wow. Yeah.
So like sweet kind of cakey, bready with like a lot of pineapple juice.
Gosh, well, that sounds very appealing.
It was the best coffee that I had like all of last year. And it was one, I think he had one the year before that was even like in top 3. And it was a Kenyan coffee that was strawberry shortcake.
Gosh, well, you have these great references like desserts, man. I'm hungry now. Thanks.
I'm so sorry. We just peaked breakfast time, so maybe you can get a
Yeah, maybe I'll do brunch afterwards. But you just mentioned this Colombian coffee. I was actually in Colombia for work a couple of weeks ago, and I went to this. Well, as you probably know, Colombia produces extremely good coffee and lots of it, but Colombians don't drink it much. Like they export most of it and they drink shit Brazilian coffee, but it's changing. I was there for work. I was there just for a couple of days. Didn't get any time to visit coffee farms or anything. I was in Bogota, but I went to the shop, and you see, third wave kind of shops popping up now, and it's people now appreciate, their coffee. Mm-hmm. So what I bought there was a very good, again, very acidic, very fruity coffee from this shop called Colo Coffee, and I have it on rotation, and it's also very good, especially pour over. Mm-hmm. Very good coffee, and it tastes like citrus, lots of citrusy kind of notes, and I really enjoy it.
Nice, yeah. That's I've loved some of the more subtle citrus notes, like the bergamot. Or yuzu. If I see yuzu on a bag, I'm buying it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And all right, so let me ask you a quick question about, tasting notes or even smells. So sometimes when I open a bag, like a fresh bag of roasted coffee, I get this, what I smell are either asparagus or green bell peppers. Do you ever get that, or is it just me?
I've gotten the green bell pepper smell, not the asparagus. Asparagus would definitely turn me off to the coffee.
All right. But for some reason I smell that, although you don't taste it, but in the nose, I often get that, like very vegetable kind of notes.
How fresh is the bag?
So the one I bought in Colombia, it had been roasted like 2 days or 3 days prior. So right now it's in its prime, most probably. And, the people who operate the shop are I think the farmers are in like an uncle or something like that. They work with a couple farmers, but yeah, it's a kind of a family kind of business. So I really enjoyed my time there, and they were super nice too.
I've been itching to get down to a coffee farm. I have some of my friends are from Colombia, and last time they came up from Medellin, he brought me a bag. Did you see any Juan Valdez down there?
It's kind of a chain there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big, and he brought me it's like a kilo almost of fucking Juan Valdez. It's from the Valle de Cacao, the Cauca. It's a little darker, very very intense flavor, but it's definitely high quality. It's great. Like I opened the bag, I'm like, this is gold. Like this is golden coffee. But
yes, certainly fresher than the stuff you'd get here in the, the Van Hoos or whatever shops. Let's not talk about those.
I don't want to give them any attention.
Yeah, exactly.
A glorified smoothie shop. You're doing mostly on drip. You're doing like Kalita Wave, or have you ventured to a V60?
So V60, I was actually discussing this a couple of days ago. I owned one like years ago, but I found that as it requires more skill and more patience. When you do master the technique, I guess you reap the benefits, but I'm not patient enough for that. So I didn't fuck around with it too much. I switched to the Kalita, and it made my life easier. I also do lots of espresso at home. I buy like cheaper coffee for that has a Robusta mixed in. Which is more of the classic kind of blend.
Yeah, the traditional.
But, so I do like half and half, like espresso and pour over drip. I've gotten to drinking more cold brew lately with lemon. Wow. I just have a couple, of choices on rotation.
That's nice. I actually have a cold brew steeping in my I have like a bigger French press, and so
that's what I used to.
2 cups of cold brew, or I'll make a concentrate and then just mix it in.
Do you do any milk?
No,
just the concentrate stuff.
I just do. Well, I'll mix it with water, like just some good water. But as far as milk, I only really do oat milk. I don't know about you.
Well, I'm not big on milk. Like in any case, oat milk is good. Sometimes I do it. I've gotten into this Next Milk thing. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's very similar to like cow milk, except it's vegan. I'm not vegan, but I just don't like milk too much. I don't like milk. So this Next Milk is the thing. And it doesn't do well when you heat it up. Like the bubbles are too big.
It's like curdles or something.
But it's very impressive. Very similar to like cow milk, and doesn't have the kind of grassy taste that other, non-dairy milk will have. So I'm quite impressed by it. So when I do cold brew, I'll do milk, a bit of maple syrup or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I'm so happy to live in maple syrup country now. I drink the water of maple syrup. I don't, when I was from the States, we don't really have a lot of it in the South. We'll do like table syrup, which is now
which
I know
is fine.
It's not. It's not fine. You don't have to.
I mean, you go to IHOP, you're hungover, you're on tour or something. It's fine. Like table syrup will do. Although I agree that maple syrup's much better.
Thank you for trying to at least give me the benefit of a doubt, but no, table syrup is horrible. Thanks for showing love to IHOP. I miss IHOP dearly sometimes, but no, maple syrup is the king, and it goes in everything, like literally everything. Salmon, maple syrup. Pancakes.
You can make a deadly teriyaki sauce with maple syrup, and that's what I do for salmon. That's what I do for lots of things I eat. Some people do honey in their coffee. I don't like it. I'm not big on honey in general. I've never actually tried it in coffee, but yeah, maple syrup for sure. And I mean, we're in Canada, so it just makes sense.
It's the most Canadian you can go with your coffee.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny because when I travel, in Europe or anything, like people are like, oh, you're Canadian, like maple syrup and poutine. And I'm like, well, that's not true, but it actually is.
Actually, it is. I try to avoid asking like a lot of people, especially from Quebec, that I have on, like, where's the poutine spot? Or like, what's your favorite poutine? But like at the end of the day, everybody here has a favorite poutine. Everybody has a favorite poutine. Like even I have a favorite poutine spot.
And so what's your favorite poutine?
You already know where it is too. It's the Bell Pro next to Fufun.
Yep.
That's there. That's the best poutine.
Well, I agree. I don't know if it would make like my top 3, but I've been there like many, many times, and it's actually very good. Do you like Pool Room? That's close by.
Pool Room is goated. Pool Room is goated. They're legendary. I just hate that it's cash only.
Oh yeah, that's annoying. Because when my last couple of years in Montreal, I had a jam space close to the other Pool Room, which is now closed. It was on Iberville. And man, I've been there hundreds of times. Well, I might be exaggerating, but the thing there that I liked was the sauce, which, in Montreal is brown sauce. Always. Whatever this means, brown sauce, like hot chicken sauce, I guess. I'm from the country. Like I'm from the Gaspé Coast, and over there it's more barbecue sauce. I don't know if you've ever tried it. So it's more tomatoey and more sweet. This Pool Room on Iberville did something that was not unsimilar to barbecue sauce. It's not proper barbecue sauce, like something you'd put on meat or something, but it's different for sure. So Pool Room was my go-to for sure in Montreal. Mont Royal hot dog. Yeah, Mont Royal hot dog is one of my classics too.
I haven't been there.
It's pretty good. They do good breakfast too. A very average kind of diner kind of place.
It's like a diner.
Their poutine is good. But in the Quebec area, like I'm not a big poutine eater. I'll do one from time to time. More in the summer, like I go to the cantine and eat some poutine. But my go-to would be Le Vieux Moulin in Pont Rouge. I don't know if you've ever been there.
That's so funny that you mentioned. That's crazy that's where you mentioned.
Really, you're familiar with it?
I'm only familiar with it because one of my good friends from Quebec City is from Pont Rouge, and that's like he's told me about that spot. I don't even know anything else about Pont Rouge. That's the only thing I know about it, is that he's from there and that there's that poutine spot.
So it's a small town. It's like maybe a half-hour drive, 40-minute drive from Quebec, and this spot just has the best poutine. Like they put cheese curds at the bottom. Of the plate, and then fries, and more cheese curds and sauce. And for me, it's the best. So I try to go there once or twice every summer. When, it's a nice day outside, you just drive there. It's a nice drive. It's scenic too. So it's probably my favorite. All right. So first hot take of this episode, McDonald's poutine is decent. I like it.
It's decent, actually.
Yeah.
It's better than A&W's.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the sauce, the gravy used to be like a couple of years ago. I didn't like the gravy too much. I feel like they might have changed the recipe, the formula. Now it used to taste a lot like chicken broth, like only chicken broth, like concentrate. Whereas now it's more balanced. And I'll be honest, I eat it from time to time. It's all good. So I tour with this Canadian band called Wake. I do sound for them. I mean, McDonald's is everywhere, and it's not great health wise, but I don't mind eating it like many times in a row, like many days in a row. It's fine. It's convenient. It's cheap. Of course, I'd love to eat, healthier on the road, but when all you have is like a McDonald's and a Subway and whatever, Cracker Barrel, Mickey's is just fine.
Cracker Barrel is horrible. I'm just gonna that's hot take number 2. Cracker Barrel is not good, and I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people from here are like, we gotta try Cracker Barrel. I'm from the place that invented Cracker Barrel food,
right?
And so I will honestly say it's not good. It's a bad representation of what Southern food is.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. No, not great. Just if like I just avoid it. Ideally,
just don't eat it.
Yeah, just skip your meal. It'll be better for you.
Maybe also unpopular opinion on the McDonald's talk, and this is not turning into hard lore, I promise. There's already been quite a bit of it, but McDonald's coffee, where do you stand?
To me, it's very decent. I like it better than Tim Hortons for sure.
There we go.
No hesitation.
That's it. I mean, I can't speak as a Canadian yet, but I can tell you, I've tried both extensively. And I'm less disappointed with McDonald's. Totally
agreed. 100%. I will say that. So I'm from a pretty remote region, and the only, coffee chain we had available was Tim Hortons. And that would be what actually got me into drinking, coffee in general. My parents drank instant, which will be a hot take couple minutes later, but I think it's fine. But I started drinking coffee, in college, drinking, Tim Hortons, and I thought it was fine with lots of cream, lots of sugar. However, for a couple of years now, I think McDonald's have really improved their game, their coffee game. I don't fuck around too much with their, espresso based drinks or anything. I tried some of them in Europe. A bit. It was fine. I'll do beer at McDonald's in Europe. It's actually better. Beer? They do, and it's cheap and it's good. But the filter coffee they have is to me it's very decent. I'll have it anytime, no problem at all. And it doesn't require as much milk and sugar to make it better, I think. So yeah, I was having brunch yesterday at these very average kind of diners, and they have shitty coffee, but I tend to appreciate these things. You just add your half and half and maybe a pack of sugar, maybe 2 in there, and it's good. It does well with your eggs and whatever. Sometimes you just need that. I certainly would not drink like a quality espresso with that kind of meal with just eggs and bacon. Oh yeah. I feel like there's a moment for like every type of coffee.
Yeah. That's the thing is there is a moment for like shit things that you appreciate because of the experience. So like I love sitting on a terrace, at Maison with like a nice, Galaxy IPA. Yeah. They've got probably top 2 chicken burger in Montreal. It's a great experience. But then there's also a place for drinking PBR in the blue can that's 5.9%.
Yeah, exactly.
With your buds at a jam. Like there's just something about it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. 100%. And by the way, and people will not see this, but I'll describe it. So what I make my cold brew with is shitty IKEA coffee. Well, it's organic, which is better than nothing. But and it's very stale. It's been sitting in my cupboard for weeks, maybe months.
Is it pre-ground?
It's pre-ground. So extremely stale coffee. But I mean, if we were blind testing, you'd prefer, quality coffee for sure. But this is my current, at least, go-to for cold brew, and it's fine. I appreciate it. Maybe in a different way that I would appreciate, quality stuff or the Colombian coffee I was discussing earlier. But there's a moment for that.
There's a moment. There's moments for things. Same with instant coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So instant coffee, since you're bringing the topic up, my parents, drank instant coffee like Maxwell House, whatever, Folgers. I didn't like it much. It does take, milk and sugar quite well, but I've gotten into, so I was in Japan a couple of years ago, and I was given a couple of, individual kind of packets of Nescafe Gold coffee, which totally got me back into drinking instant. And now I've been going to this Korean grocery store here in Quebec, and they have these tiny pouches of instant coffee. It has a bit of creamer in them, a bit of sugar, maybe it's sweetener. The brand is Maxim for people who want to look it up, and it's actually very fucking good. Well, for instant at least. Certainly a different experience from drinking proper coffee, but as a coffee flavored drink, if you will, it's actually excellent. And I enjoy them from time to time, either hot or maybe cold or over ice. It's actually pretty good. So instant coffee, even that has its moment.
It has its place.
Yeah.
There's even some third wave roasters that are doing instant now.
Right. I believe I've seen that. There's this, I can't remember what the name is, but there's this roaster shop from Toronto, I think, and they make Vietnamese style sweet coffee, but in instant form. They do pouches. So they have them at Société des Loisirs here in Quebec, which is a coffee shop and a vinyl pressing plant as well. So our guitar guy, Louis in APES, he presses vinyls there. And they have great coffee, great records. It's a great shop. Forgot to mention it earlier.
Yeah, that's really sick. I didn't even know that existed. So next time I'm up there, I'm definitely going to have to go by there.
Yeah, so so they put in like windows. You can see like the pressing process ongoing. You can buy records that they press. You can buy other records as well. You can drink a good coffee. You can sit down. You can bring your dog. It's a very nice shop, and it's right downtown.
Cool. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a stop next time I'm in Quebec. Hopefully sooner than later. I was supposed to be there earlier this year, but some things happened and the fest was canceled. So,
that fest.
You don't have to say it like that.
No. Yeah. But if you're ever back in town, just let me know. I'll take you on a tour.
Hell yeah. I'll get a real Quebec experience, because every time I've been, it's just like very touristy and fun, but try to do like. But
it's indeed very touristy. It's always been, since for people who don't know this, Quebec City has a very European kind of feel. It's the oldest city in Canada, and it still has retained some of the fine architecture from back in the days, very French inspired, but and lots of tourists, obviously. But there's more to it than just that. Although it's gorgeous when you walk, around the old Quebec area, it's beautiful. But yeah, more to it than just that area.
Yes, there's more to Quebec City than just the Chateau Frontenac.
Yeah, exactly. Which is actually kind of a modern building. It was never a castle. It was just it's a hotel, really. Yeah, but it's it draws crowds for sure.
Like, I think it was actually built in the 20th century.
Yeah, I think there might have been like a first iteration before that, but it certainly didn't look as swanky as it looks now. So it's a bit of a trap, actually.
Yeah, I love going and walking around old Quebec, but I've been to some places outside of there, like Noctem is one of my wife and I's favorite breweries.
Yeah, very good. I was there just the other day. It's amazing. Noctem, Barberie. I don't know if you've been there. Also very good. They were one of the pioneers, in draft beer in Quebec, which is like everywhere. Draft beer is booming. I'm not a specialist by any means, but I do enjoy my draft beer from time to time.
Oh yeah. It's in Quebec and Montreal, especially. It's crazy. Like the game is high. So
I don't even understand the economics of it, because we're a small province, like 8 million people, not all beer drinkers for sure. But then you have, I don't know. a couple blocks from where I live, there's this corner store called L'Impact, the Impact, and they have, I don't know, it's like fucking thousands of beers. Like every single fucking brewery in Quebec you will see there, and from Ontario, whatever. And I don't understand how it works, like the economics of it. Like, how do these people make money? Like, there's just too much choice. It's mind-boggling.
Well, it's like I'll sit at Mesorim sometimes and see people carrying like cases, and each one of those beers is like $6.
Yeah, you got to be rich, man. It's a rich man's game.
It's crazy. Are you stocking up for 3 months? Like, what are you doing? Are you drinking that much beer?
Well, I was a couple months ago, I was at my friend Tremblay's place in Longueuil, and he collects, whiskeys, but he also collects beer. And I had brought some beers to him, as a gift. And he was like, nah, you take him back, man. Look at my fridge. His fridge was just packed. Like, there must have been like 120 cans of beers. And like, I was like, do these not get stale or, expire or something? You need to drink them. It's like, yeah, I need to do that. Yeah. I like you said earlier, I'll do craft beer anytime, but I also enjoy my cheap beer. I do beer and tomato juice. Another hot take. I love that stuff.
Like a michelada. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a poor man's michelada. Just I remember I was at Bar Beefsteak in Montreal maybe a year or two ago, and I ordered a beer and tomato juice, and the barmaid was just giving me the looks. She was like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, just tomato juice and beer." She's like, "Okay." She had never seen that before.
It's like a Caesar, but
poor man's Caesar. Yeah, exactly.
I tell people all the time, like, Montreal is a metal city. Quebec is a metal province. When you look at it, like, so many amazing bands have come through here. Even, I think a lot of the hardcore scene is even influenced by, the metal bands that have come through and come out of Quebec.
Absolutely.
Which I think is a great way to start talking about, your background playing drums, being in APES, and just like give me a kind of a long of the short, like, why'd you start playing drums? What was it like, growing up in this Quebec scene, playing hardcore and metal from Quebec? Sure.
So, well, I started playing music like most people, I guess, in high school, just fucking around. Drums was always my instrument of choice. I play bass and I sing in a band, but drums, it's always been my thing. And when I turned like 17, 18, moved to Rimouski for college. And I had family there. My mom was from there. And for those who don't know, Rimouski is in eastern Quebec, and it's a small city. It's like 60,000 people, but it was a hugely important city in the death metal scene. Like in the 90s, all the big death metal tours would go there. So, and I had friends there, I had family there. So I was introduced to death metal and metal music through that at an early age. So when I moved there for college, I started, a hardcore band with two of the guys that play in APES, actually. And so we've been, good friends for over 20 years now. So we played hardcore shows. I also was a promoter, put on a bunch of shows there, and moved to Quebec City for university at some point. And I actually had a band which was kind of a proto version of APES, but then I moved to Montreal, and then APES started without me. So I actually joined the band a couple of years ago, and they're good friends. But so the previous drummer is also he was my roommate. So it's all like a big bunch of good friends, and we have a good time. We hang out like outside of band practice. It's really great to being able to be good friends with your bandmates. I understand that we're not a touring band by any means. I understand that touring can put a strain on friendships and everything. So I'm thankful that we're just a bunch of friends playing music. And so, yeah, and hardcore and metal were always my, primary genres. I listen to all styles of music, but as far as playing, that's always been my thing. I do vocals in a power violence band. that's called Juggler's Cars. We're playing Montreal in a couple weeks at the Ear Slaughter
Oh, nice.
Fest. Yeah. And but yeah, drums has always been my thing, and I've always listened to bands that have great drummers, Led Zeppelin or Deftones or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Influential drummers. So yeah, it's always been my thing.
What's your current rig that you're running drum wise?
So for the longest time, I played on a Tama Star Classic Performer, which is birch. And I recently, like last year, I bought a Ludwig Classic Maple. Ooh. I always wanted to own a maple kit. For the longest time, I didn't. Now I'm so happy with it. Ludwig are kings, of maple shells. These drums, I have a pretty standard setup, just like a 22-inch kick, 12-inch tom, and 16-inch floor tom. But man, these drums sound so fucking great. I'm actually going to the studio next weekend for APES, and I'll use my own set. I think it sounds great. And yeah, I've been very happy with it. I also have a very cool finish, which is rare. They call it Galaxy Sparkle. So it's black with tiny bits of kind of flaky gold and other colors. Oh, yeah. So it looks pretty. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I like it.
What's your go-to cymbals? Your cymbal brand?
So the ultimate best, I think, is Zildjian. Although people need to be able to afford them.
Yeah.
I like Paiste as well.
Really?
So I have a mix of Paiste and Zildjian on my kit right now. So I have like a Paiste hi-hat. I have the 15-inch wavy kind of hi-hat, which
the master sounds.
The series is 2002, I think, 2002. Okay. And it's what John Bonham of Zeppelin used. Again, huge influence. And I have like Zildjian crashes and the infamous Zildjian Z-Bell ride, the one with the huge bell on it.
Love it.
Yeah, they don't make it anymore. Well, they make one, but it's a different series. Mine is the OG Z Custom series.
And now it's the A series.
Right. So I'm glad I held on to it, because I almost sold it at some point, not knowing that I would, because I went on some kind of hiatus from playing drums for a while. I felt like I should sell some of my stuff. Thankfully, I did not.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying playing with that fucking ride cymbal. It's just very nasty.
It's disgusting. I know. Do you know Gab from Sudden Waves? And
yeah,
Gab D'Amours. Yeah, L'Escarbo. So when I first saw him play, I was like, this motherfucker has a Z mega bell.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think that not one drummer, but like two drummers at least that I know from like Quebec have fucking Z-Bell rides.
Well, from a drummer's perspective, I think it sounds great. From a sound guy's perspective, maybe not so much, because it pierces through so much. Like that's all you can hear, especially the accents on the bell. It's like bing, 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 bing. That's all you hear. I try not to use the bell too much playing with APES, because it's just too, overpowering. I mean, it's not versatile by any means. It's just a ping sound. There's no wash. Funnily enough, it used to be up until recently, I had no crashes, only rides on my drums. So I used, because I'm a hard hitter for sure. So I used rides just so that the cymbals would not break. I bought a K custom crash the other day, so I'm very careful of not breaking it. But my main crash is actually a ride from Paiste, and it sounds great, both as a ride and as a crash. So yeah, I'm that kind of guy.
That's what I've had to become, that because I was playing softer music for a long time. Right. Started playing metal again a couple of years ago, and I'm playing in like a mathcore kind of like metalcore band.
Oh, nice.
I found some used Sabian, the metal series, the AAX metal.
Yeah. I owned, at some point, an AAX explosion crash or something like that. It sounded pretty good. Yeah.
So picture the explosion, but like thicker.
Right.
So a 19-inch and a 20-inch, they're crashes, but they sound like stage rides. Like they don't sound like crashes. And then I have like the 22-inch, the metal ride, which is what I basically messaged Chris Mills from Harm's Way. I was like, what did you use on Posthuman? And he was like, the metal ride. I was like, hell yeah.
You know what? That was actually that specific model, the metal ride. That was actually my very first ride when I bought my first kit in 2000 or something. It already existed, and I remember. So where I lived, where I grew up, is a 12-hour drive from Montreal. So I'm not driving there to buy fucking cymbals. So I just called Steve's Music, and you know, I'm just this kid. I'm 14-year-old, and they're not very interested in having the discussion because they're just like, oh, he's just, fucking around. But I actually wanted to buy cymbals, and he recommended that ride to me, and I had it for the longest time. And I actually think it passed on to the previous drummer for APES. So yeah, it's indestructible.
It is. It's the thickest cymbal I have ever played.
Yeah, and it sounded good both as a crash and as a ride too. So yeah,
you can wash it a little bit.
Yeah, I like versatile cymbals. You need to be able to do a bit of everything.
Definitely.
And I mean, a good washed ride sounds good on some of the riffs. That's exactly what you need.
Yeah, if you can get the motion, like if you can get it vibrating enough to like let it wash, then it's perfect. But it's essentially a giant gong. But you're not doing that with the fucking Z Custom Z-Bell ride for sure. I would never even attempt it. Never attempt it.
It sounds nasty.
That ride is made solely for stick rebounds. That's it. It's like a giant sheet of metal that you're just gonna blast beat off of.
Well, it's a one-trick pony. I'll say.
Awesome. I love talking gear. I'm so happy that you're on a Ludwig. It's like we switched because I'm playing a Star Classic Maple, and I used to play on like a Slingerland that was Keller kind of shells. But those older, like when they dry out the wood on them, it is beautiful. The sound that you get.
Wow, nice. And I'll be honest, if I feel the need to switch drums again, Star Classic Maple will probably be my next choice. For some reason, Tama drums have been hard to get in Canada for the past couple of years. I think there's no Canadian distributor anymore. Maybe it's changed now, but I could not get my hands on one. So that would be the main reason actually why I went for Ludwig. And the local shop here I go to are like Ludwig through and through. But I'm actually happy I did that. I will say, however, that the quality of the hardware at Tama is like the very best, I think.
The Road Pro, oh man, it's the best.
Yeah, and even like the hoops on the drums and like everything is just high quality. Whereas Ludwig, I feel sometimes things are a bit flimsy, but it's okay. It's like their shells sound so great, so I can forgive the flimsiness of their hardware. Of the
triple flanged hoops?
Yeah, the triple flange hoops. And I'm not buying like cymbal stands off of Ludwig for sure. But the shells are just like second to none. So that's what I'm looking for.
You definitely pay for the wood. I do love the lugs on the classics. Like they have like the little Art Deco style like detail on them.
Yeah.
It just looks so nice. Yeah.
Gorgeous, right?
But yeah, you're definitely paying for just the shells. Like the hardware is not.
Yeah. What about snares? What kind of snare do you like? Or
so
do you
I have two Ludwig snares.
Oh, really? Are they Superphonic or?
No, I have a super light 8x14 steel.
Right. Yep.
Which is the poor man's Superphonic. Yeah. And then I have a 6.5x14 maple. I think it's a stadium snare. It's from like the 70s or 80s. But I'm having trouble identifying it. There's no marking on the inside. It's that old. And then it's missing its badge, but it had the stadium lugs. So I don't know. But
I think so. Having these two snares sounds like a pretty balanced setup. You're getting different qualities from.
For sure. Yeah.
From each of them. So that's great. So you mentioned the Slingerland earlier. I made it like this great steel a couple of years ago on Kijiji or something. So there was this guy selling a hi-hat stand, and I needed one. So I just drive to his house and buy the hi-hat stand, which was just cheap shit. And I just look around. There's a Slingerland Sound King, like Gene Krupa Sound King there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, is this for sale? It's like, oh yeah, I'll sell it to you for $20 or maybe $40 or something. So I paid $100 for the hi-hat stand, and then fucking $40 for the greatest sounding snare I have in my collection.
The chrome over brass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I actually owned a Black Beauty at that time, and I sold it because I like the sound of the Slingerland better. Yeah. So that says a lot, I think.
I've never heard a bad sounding Slingerland snare. I'm trying to think because I don't, to my knowledge. So when I went to school, I went to like school at this church. Basically, it's like a big mega church, but I went for music. And so all the kids were all DW. They were all collectors.
Right.
But the snares were all Radio Kings from like the 80s.
Wow.
And so they had the super hoops, like the die-cast super hoops, which I love.
Yeah.
Where they like bevel in, and then, or no, sorry, they're stick savers. They're basically stick saver hoops. And then you could just crank the shit out of them and they would sound good, or you could tune them almost dead and it would sound just as good. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I find that at least the one I own, it sounds very balanced. Like regardless of the tuning, you still have lots of low end. So mine's a 6.5 by 14, and it sounds. The only thing though is that the hardware is just falling apart, and it's come to a point where it's not reliable enough for me to bring to a show. So I'll have it repaired. I'll restore it at some point because, the throw off is just shitty. But I bought a DW Collector Series nickel over brass, which sounds fucking great. And the strainer has like a magnet in it like this. It's just like the hardware quality is like just great. But I still prefer the Slingerland sound a little bit over it. But I mean, it sounds good, and it's road ready. Like it's all good.
That's my thing. I'm so nervous of doing like old snares like that because I have old drums. Like I would never take that old maple one out ever.
No, exactly.
But it's just that the 8x14 is like a fucking monster, and it is so heavy, and I have to adjust every stand.
Because they're so deep. But the low end you get on those snares is just crazy. It sounds awesome.
Insane. Even when I just recorded with it and I tuned it, medium high tuning just to get like a bit more body out of it. No. And I realized that like it was too much body. Even at like medium high tuning, I was like, I should have just cranked this shit. So
that's a nice problem to have. It's easier to remove it than to add it artificially using EQ or some shit.
I'm like mixing. I'm like barely adding in any snare bottom because it's just too much.
Yeah,
fucking.
That's pretty body. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's great. So you guys are recording.
Yeah. So we're recording an LP. It's going to be 8 songs. So full length this time. So what happened is we signed to Translation Loss 2 years ago.
Right.
And prior to knowing that we would be doing that, we had prepared an EP, which was like 3-4 songs. And Drew, who operates Translation Loss out of Philadelphia, he was kind enough, to let us release the EP through the label. And we were super happy with the results. As with everything that Translation Loss releases, the vinyls look great, they sound great, and now we're finally getting ready, for a full length, and we're really happy with how the songs sound, but it's funny because we'll be releasing singles at some point, but what we're saying and what's funny is that we're saying that like black metal people will not like it, metal people will not like it, and hardcore kids will not like it because it's not going to be black metal enough or not metal enough or not hardcore enough. But that's always more or less been the sound of Apes. It's a bit of everything.
Right.
And but hopefully people will like it. But it's a mishmash of many genres for sure.
Well, I mean, that I get that vibe off of Lullabies as well. Like there's so much black metal, like Full of Hell style, which is fitting because Dylan did so much noise work on it.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of the noisiness, but then you also have this like insanely like pounding rhythm from like hardcore and some death metal, like classic death metal elements. So would you say it's more of a mismatch, or like, would you like, how much more extreme can you get on the blending of genres?
Well, we actually tried to, because the thing is, there's six of us. We have three guitar players,
Right.
which is unusual. But we listen to so many different genres. Like each of us all listen to different things, and we try not to get too overboard with mixing the genres. If we do a song that sounds like death metal, we try not to make it too much of a blend with other stuff. Obviously, there'll always be like a mosh part or something because
Right.
we love that shit.
Everybody loves mosh.
Yeah, but I think the new record will be a bit more black metal than the previous material. That's kind of the mood we were in. Certainly not, cult black metal stuff. Like,
Yeah.
but certainly influenced by it. But you know how bands always say, oh, the new album is going to have like more heavy parts, but also more melodic parts, and you're like, that this cannot be possible. But I feel like saying exactly that like there'll be more black metal, but also more death metal, but also more hardcore, which doesn't make sense at all. But I think it'll be a balanced album in terms of genres, but certainly leaning a bit more towards more atmospheric riffs.
Okay.
Lots of blast beats. I love doing that. And I think it's going to be a good record, at least from my point of view. And just last night, Alex was here, our singer. He was here, and we were doing noises, for interludes and additional layers of sound on the songs. And I've been getting into more, because I'm the one that mostly does that in the band, and I've been getting to doing more and more of that. I really love bands that integrate, electronics and layers of, synthesizers and noises. Like the last Candy album for me is just
so good.
Home run. Like I fucking love this album. So we're trying to do more of that. So this time around, Dylan was, he had a kid. He's super busy, so we didn't want to bother him too much for noises this time. So I'm doing most of it. But it's looking good. I'm sampling lots of shit, sampling my dishwasher, sampling. So on the on the EP, we actually have so on the last song on the EP, which is called Soar, I've sampled Alex hitting a microwave oven with a 2x4. So we'll try to do something like that this time around too. Not sure what exactly now, but yeah, we'll try to do some dumb shit like that again. And I think it really adds to the music. Sometimes it's very subtle, but when you listen to the album, with earphones or something, you can kind of feel the extra, seasoning it adds to your music.
Oh yeah. It's got like just the opening of Lullabies. I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? And then it just slams in with that black metal riff. I'm like, I was not expecting this.
Exactly. A lot of that was Dylan. So when they were in the studio for the last Full of Hell album, he took like a day to record some shit and process it with a bunch of pedals he had. He sent me that raw material, and then we kind of discussed on how we could arrange that. And on my side, I just passed it through some even more effects, and I think the results are pretty good, right? It sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is like, yeah, it fits with the name so well. It literally feels like you're in like this weird death dimension, and it's great.
Yeah, I'll try. Definitely doing more of that for the new album for sure.
Are you guys recording that at Broil again?
Yes. So, and we really like this arrangement that we have where so Raf, who owns Broil, he does the recording. We do it locally, and then we have someone else mix the album. Raf he's mixed the previous album. He's also pretty good, but we wanted to explore things a little bit. So having done the EP with Will Putney, which it really raised the bar, and now we're like, fuck, we need to we need to have it mixed by like someone big. It will not be Will. He was a bit too busy, and we wanted to explore something else, but it'll be someone who's also very good, who's done a lot of good records, and we can't wait to share the news and also the music, because we think it's going to be a banger.
Awesome. And when are you guys expecting this to be out?
So it's not official yet, but probably beginning of 2024 or something like that. So we still need to figure out the scheduling with the label, but we're in the studio right now. We'll be doing mixing, over the summer, and probably release a single before the end of the year for sure, maybe two actually.
Nice.
Looking at maybe doing videos again, and probably like first quarter of 2024, hopefully. And you never know, because of pressing plans, they have delays. It's always complicated. That's what happened for the EP anyway. Mm-hmm. Fuck you, Taylor Swift. We got bumped off either by Taylor Swift or Adele. I'm not sure, because they just flooded the presses, like the pressing plants, with huge orders, and lots of bands were just bumped because of that. But anyway, I get it. I get the economics of it, at least.
Well, and doing mid-pandemic, it was like,
Yeah, exactly. It was, it was an interesting process, but hopefully there won't be any significant delays this time around.
So you mentioned that y'all are not like a touring band,
Yeah.
You play a lot of shows in the province and around like the Eastern Canada kind of area. With releasing a full length on a label, is that going to imply, playing expansive dates? What is that going to look like for you guys?
Most likely. So not being a touring band usually means that people have, more stable jobs and whatever. And one of us has a kid, and it gets a bit more complicated. That being said, like you mentioned, since we'll be releasing, full length, we're looking at doing more touring. We'd love to do Europe for sure. United States is a bit complicated because of the visa issues. But the thing is, you can get a visa, but it's quite expensive. So you'd better tour more than once in that year. Yeah. So United States, I'm not sure. Europe will probably do, and more dates in Canada. So we're doing a couple of Ontario dates this summer. We'll be doing the Maritimes in the fall. And that's all kind of in preparation for when we'll release the album, 6 months after that, or maybe a year after that. So going back there and doing more Quebec shows. We'd love to go further west at some point. There's kind of
an expanse.
a huge, there's an expanse like between fucking Toronto and Calgary. Well, there's a couple of cities in between, but you need to drive for fucking 14 hours to get there between each one of them. But maybe at some point, who knows? But yeah, certainly doing more shows. We love doing shows, and the thing is, having only released an EP last year, we're still playing lots of old material, so we didn't want to do too much of it. Mm-hmm. But with the new album, we'll do more shows for sure.
Awesome. Looking forward. I didn't get to catch you guys in 2022. I was supposed to go to the Get the Shot show, and I got deathly ill and was stuck at home. So my wife went instead.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yes. Well, I wasn't, I just had a cold. It was just very bad. But yeah, I was really bummed out. I wanted to see you guys. I was also supposed to see Peer Pressure for the first time. So kind of bummed I didn't get to see them.
We're actually, so it's not like officially announced yet, but I don't mind sharing it. So we're playing Montreal the 1st of July, which is Canada Day. I don't know if you'll be busy that day. Yeah. And we're playing with Scorchy Tombs, who are great friends, and also two bands. And two bands from Hamilton. So one is Spirit of Vengeance, and the other one is Mortuary Slab, I think. Mm-hmm. Very good band. They just released a demo.
I actually know about the show already. I had just forgotten that it was happening.
Yeah, it'll be at Foufs, I think, the Cabaret des Foufs. And
okay, good. Yeah, that's going to be good. I think I had talked to Blaine from Spirit of Vengeance, and he was mentioning it was going to be at Casso, which I was like, that's probably not good.
Yeah, and we're doing a couple shows in Ontario that weekend, so it'll be a good time.
That's going to be fun. Spirit of Vengeance is fucking great.
Oh, they're brutal, man. I didn't know about the band, but I just listened to their shit a couple of days ago. I was like, whoa, this is something.
It's mean.
Yeah, very mean. Cold as life kind of vibes, or I like.
It's just straight up asshole beatdown. I love it.
Yeah, and I like that they're not shy about it. They just
no, they are not. They are not shy even a little bit. It's really great.
It's going to be a good time for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to be there for that. I will be here for Canada Day, so we're gonna have to chill. We'll do a coffee stop, hopefully.
That would be amazing.
Tremblay doesn't take too much of your time. I know that he can be needy, but just kidding. Shout out Chain Block.
Yeah, absolutely.
But super stoked to see you guys. Super excited to hear the singles and hear what you guys come out with. Because Lullabies, I think, was probably from Quebec, especially one of the best releases of 2022. Amazing.
Well, truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're happy with the result, and we're happy with the response we've gotten. So this just primed us to do more and do the album. We're just really happy with how this all happened. We're also really thankful for Translation Lost to having released that, and it's been good. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed getting a chat with you.
Likewise.
I just have one last question for you before we go.
Sure.
What's your favorite city for Beans and Breakdowns?
Oh gosh. Montreal for sure, man.
I just spit water out on myself.
That's a nice response. I think Montreal it's a mecca for music, all genres. It's a mecca for food. It's a mecca for coffee. Great city all around. If you haven't been to Montreal, I live in Quebec City. I love Quebec City, but if you've never been to Montreal, grab a flight and go there. It's just this amazing city, nice people, and it's great in the summer for sure.
Yeah.
Visit in the summer, ideally. And Beans and Breakdowns. I love the Bean Talk. It's been a great moment.
Yes, I really enjoy getting to talk coffee with semi-pretentious coffee people. I know that there's more and more of us popping up every day, but luckily the past few weeks I've had very, very coffee oriented people, you being one of them. So super excited for these episodes to come out.
Oh yeah. Can't wait to share this with all my coffee friends, my coffee bean nerd friends. I got a couple of them.
Give a shout out to your favorite Montreal shop.
Definitely Paquebot. Again, like great all around. There are so many good shops in Montreal.
I know it's hard,
but for some reason, Paquebot is one of my original go-tos. I was there just the other day. They really make you feel comfortable. They make great coffee. They make great drinks. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Paquebot for sure. My favorite. Is
it the one on Bélanger or Saint Laurent? Or
the one I go to is on Bélanger, a corner of Papineau almost. Yeah,
it's the OG.
The OG. That's mine.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for having me. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Gab for hanging out on the podcast. It was really great to talk with him. Be sure to check out Lullabies for Eternal Sleep, the most recent EP from APES. It's available on all streaming platforms. And be sure to check out any of the shows upcoming that are near you. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.